Kurdish protesters have stormed the European Parliament in Brussels. They're demanding swift military action against Islamic State jihadists who are now on the verge of taking over a key Kurdish town in Syria. Well, let's cross to our correspondent, Peter Oliver, who has more now. Peter, good to see you there. What exactly do the protesters want then?
Well, these protesters want more action taken. They perceive it as real inaction by Western governments who have said that ISIS is a direct threat to them. They're saying it's the Kurdish people who are doing the fighting on the front line and they need more support. So what we've seen is these demonstrators taking over the EU Parliament in Brussels. Also right here in Berlin right now, there is a demonstration taking place just next to the Brandenburg Gate. Next to the Brandenburg Gate are the embassies of the United States and Great Britain. This is what's going on right now. You can see those live pictures. There's also demonstrations near the Reichstag to try and get Germany to commit more troops to this. But this is just part of what we've seen going on across Europe. The Dutch Parliament was occupied as well in The Hague. Also in Istanbul, there's been more and more demonstrations taking place calling for Turkey to play a key role as ISIS march on towards those key towns, both on the Turkish and on the Syrian borders, where the Kurds are putting up the fight there, and they're saying they need more help, and that's why they're demonstrating across Europe right now.
Peter, thank you very much for the update. Let's now speak with member of the European Parliament, George Katrougalos. He's in the Parliament right now and joins us live. Now, we are seeing some of the pictures of what's occurring in the building in Brussels right now. Thank you very much for joining us here on RT International. Now, you're there to set the scene for us, but some of the Kurdish protesters blame the West for inaction over Islamic State's advances. That's what they're claiming. Is this a fair accusation, do you think?
Well, these people are worrying about their families in place, and I think their general feeling is correct. The West has left practically defenseless the Kurdish population outside Iraq. And to be frank, ISIS, the Islamic State, is a kind of Frankenstein construction, a golem that has escaped its constructor. We can blame some powers in the West, especially the United States, not only for not being very active against the ISIS, but having initially some responsibility for its creation as well.
Well, American Vice President Joe Biden has accused some Middle East countries of being behind the rise of Islamic State. We'll remember his quotes at the weekend. Let's have a listen.
Our allies in the region were our largest problem in Syria. The Turks were great friends, the Saudis, the Emiratis, etc. What were they doing? They were so determined to take down Assad, they poured hundreds of millions of dollars and thousands of tons of weapons into anyone who would fight against Assad, except that the people who were being supplied were al-Nusra and al-Qaeda and the extremist elements of jihadis coming from other parts of the world.
Well, Biden later had to apologize for those words, but how close to reality are they, do you think?
Well, I think they're highly hypocritical because the states themselves have helped anybody that was against the Assad regime. And that included also many of the fundamentalists that now are part of the ISIS. And this is not something new for the United States policy. For instance, the same has happened when they were supporting wide support to fundamentalists in the Taliban's, for the Taliban's Afghanistan, in so many cases. That's why I have spoken before as for ISIS as a kind of a golem that has escaped the intentions of its creator.
Now, the Kurds are accusing Turkey of not doing anything to help the Kurdish militias across the border in Syria who are taking on this fight. Do you think Ankara could be and should be doing more at this stage?
Well, Ankara has also a huge responsibility with regard to the treatment of its Kurdish population. And I think Turkey and more generally the European powers must conform and change their policy to be more friendly with human rights and not be hypocritical, not have a policy of double standards, as I'm afraid it happens now.
Member of the European Parliament, George Katrougalas, thank you very much for your time here on RT International.